sat in her office. A weak desk light kept the darkness around her at bay. The silence of the archive suited her. She scowled at a series of graphs when the room turned red. Alarms blared. Breach detected. Then the walls of the archives rumbled. A tremor in the bones of the facility. One by one, the red lights went dark as a wave of nothing poured in from all sides. Diana stood, but there was nowhere to run. The sheer depth of the darkness terrified her. She realized they had done this. Her and Jules, their ambition, their hatred. Her desk lamp flickered. In the brief moment before it all went dark, she thought of Jules' smile.
September 13th, 2023. Notes regarding the concept of the tortured artist. A romanticized image of the sensitive artistic temperament, yes. But there may be truth in the cliche. It's no secret Rudolph Lane has been unhappy here for years. But The aggregate data shows his art's viability score trending upward over time. If Jules hadn't neglected to hold regular psychological exams, then we could have quantified the subject's emotional state, creating a sort of distress rating to compare against the art score. I'll make this a sub-goal of my study of Edward Booker. Once we set the variables and establish a control reading of his art and mental state, then we can begin inducing negative emotion. Limited food and water, perhaps. An increasingly tight living space. This is how Jules lost his subject, though.
The lake house was underwater. The Marmont's ambitions had finally been realized. Jules had dangled the painting like a lure and hooked an ocean. Their machines couldn't hold it. A fault in the system. The water rushed in, filled it until it was ready to burst. All their successes and failures had led them here. The work had made them into monsters. But the lake house was still theirs. It always would be. They could feel an outsider trespassing in their labs. "I know you're here," they called out to the dark. They hunted floor by floor. They wouldn't let the intruders stop their progress. This was their home, their beloved tomb beneath the waves.
This doesn't look like Lane's style. A different artist.
Oh, that is really fucking rich, Jules. Oh, and he's reportedly misplaced the manuscript pages I need for my work. Suddenly, the exact pages that I need to reference have just vanished. He is actively impeding critical bureau research. I mean, if he can do that, then what is stopping me from going down to that lab? And I don't know, just inverting the amplifiers or misaligning the receivers or both. It's the same thing in principle.
Sublevel 5.
The Marmonts had opened the door into Cauldron Lake's threshold. It was forced, it was unstable. Shutting the experiment down was the only option. Rudolph Lane. I will do whatever I can to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen again. The threshold is tearing itself apart. I need to shut this down. The Marmonts are dead. I don't know if that's any sort of consolation, but it's done. Look, I'm sorry. I know you didn't make a choice here. It's not fair, but I have to shut this threshold down before it fractures.
Частина stood in the forest just outside of Bright Falls. She watched her team detain Alan Wake and Ilmo Koskinen, stuffing them into black SUVs. She realized this was the moment Wake had been writing in the vision she had seen. The story was coming true. She pushed the thought out of her head. It had been a good tip, a way to find Wake. Nothing more.
Alan Wake! After the Threshold event collapsed, I was back at Cauldron Lake. For a moment, I was somewhere else. I saw Alan Wake there. He was writing about me finding him in Bright Falls, in the woods. It was a good tip. I called the surviving members of my team, and I told them to meet me there. You know, these cases, they never get less ambiguous or easier. This one, this was tough. Because protocol says entities like the Taken are monsters, threats. But the Marmonts were monsters way before the Shadow got to them. So at the end of the day, what's the difference?
We wrote so many things, wrote them for you and me. We're here standing on a precipice, we are ready to take a leap. But that only comes after, for this was the end scene. This was the end of an era. This was the sum of my body of work. When I'll be long gone, you can hold this together, and you can take it or leave it. Everything that comes after, and we'll always have this. All these moments that led us here, all this joy and these heartaches, they're woven into our very fabric. Take that away from us. The journey that brought us here. The journey that made us who we are.
I gave Ed Booker a ride back to town, told him never breathe a word about this. I didn't even bother detaining him, bigger fish to fry. And, that's it. So if you were thinking, Jesus, this lady's an asshole. Well, now you know why. You've only seen one case like this. I've seen a career's worth. I was just trying to spare you the headache.
I never did any of these things. It's like some bad soap opera version of my life. Scratch was pretending to be awake, manipulating me. What does he want from me? No! I'm in control here. It's my mind place. He's powerful. Too powerful. Just his presence here makes me feel sick. Like a wave of terror through my head. I feel his single-minded drive to get the clicker. I'm sorry about your brother, Elmo.
Jaakko was all heart. He always went along with my ideas, no matter how stupid they were. Always happy to help. I got carried away. I never think things through. It's my fault.
I realize it's a bad time. But I need you to tell me everything about the cult of the tree.
The cult is my craziest idea that ever worked. Look, what kind of a cult calls themselves a cult? Exactly. We protect water in Bright Falls. We're the good guys. A secret neighborhood watch. Well, that was the idea anyways. Look, we've always known about the horror inside the lake. When any Taken come out, we kill them.
You don't turn people into Taken. You kill the ones who already have. You were trying to kill Alan Wake. Why?
Nothing good has ever come out of Cauldron Lake. The nightmare that hit Bright Falls in 2010 was all because of his writing. And ever since then, pages of his stories are floating up from the lake, and monsters keep popping out. It's all him, Wake. And if we don't stop him, no one will.
Wake's evil doppelganger Scratch is the threat we're facing, not Wake. And I will stop him.
I've never heard of anyone called Scratch.
How long has the cult been around for?
Certain folks around here have always known about Cauldron Lake. Before us, it was the Torchbearers. And when I inherited the mission, I wanted to call it a cult. It was genius. Just a name did half the work. Made people too scared to go into the woods at night. Business 101. Fear is a great motivator.
Ilmo said the cult kills Taken. Is he telling the truth?
Surplus deer masks buy in bulk. We've got a floater, a Taken on the shore. Call the gang Yako. We are going hunting. Cult of the Tree. Keeping the town safe since 2013.
Ilmo is telling the truth about the cult. They really were fighting the Taken. We're on the same side. If the cult is killing Taken, then why did Nightingale turn into one?
Private party. Invitation only. Wrong time, wrong place. Time to go, Yako. A job half done isn't done at all.
Nightingale became a Taken because the Bookers interrupted their ritual. I'm gonna deal with the situation, Ilmo. But the town will need protection until we sort this out. I could use your help.
Right. Right. I'll round up the gang. Whoever's left. We won't let these fucking monsters hurt any more of our people. We'll do my brother proud.
Thank you, Ilmo.
This is the kind of case my ex hated. The ones that might kill me.
That's funny. The cases that might kill me were my ex's favorite.
The cult didn't trust Wake. Or is it Scratch? Wake isn't the first person the Dark Presence disguised itself as. What the hell is a para-utilitarian? The lake is a gateway to the dark place. I need to know what information I can still trust. Wake told me the clicker would fix this. But Wake was actually Scratch. How can I trust anything he said?
The artist must conclude his work. He rides a storm on your piece. Wake up and smell the danger. We told you already, kiddo. What Tom said about the light switch is true. Don't let the story confuse you. You need him to write the ending you want. The clicker can make that ending come true.
But we don't have Wake. Everything we knew about the clicker was true. He wasn't lying. The clicker amplifies any changes to reality suggested by a piece of art. Makes them permanent.
Scratch told me the clicker can be used to change the story. Does that match your understanding of this thing?
Yeah, the light switch is a paranatural item, maybe even an object of power. We have verified reports that Alan Wake was in possession of it during the AWE here back in 2010. It definitely has power. We know that much.
I can come up with a plan. I always do. The clicker can fix this, but I can't use it without Wake. Tor knows about this stuff. Maybe Wake is still in the dark place. How do I get him out?
We live and breathe rock and roll. From the silence of screams, from the fever of dreams. The clicker can amp up other works of art, not just Tom's writing. Anything created with passion. The dark power of the lake will make it creep into reality. But if the holder of the clicker believes in the art, they can make it all come true in the flick of a switch.
I can use the clicker without Wake. Only Wake's writing can change the horror story. But I can use the clicker to change something else. Like getting Wake out of the dark place. I will use the clicker to change reality, and bring Wake back at Cauldron Lake. I'll need the right work of art, but that won't be a problem. I've got it now. I just need to tell the others what to do and fix everything. For good.